Hello, hello, welcome in. Let me get myself situated and I'll get my camera turned on there. How's everybody doing tonight on this lovely, lovely Tuesday evening? Lovely, lovely. Here I am. Wanted to shut this door, but I forgot. Okay. Hi, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Tanya, or Titanium Built. You can call me either or. But welcome on in, guys. Welcome on in. It's good to see it. Maybe for round 2, because I did do a live earlier today. If you missed it, we actually read all of part 3 of our book that we've been reading about the Idaho 4. So I just have the book cover taken off, but there's the book cover. When the Night Comes Falling is what we've been reading by Howard Bloom. And so we'll be on the 4th part next time that we read it. And it's part number 4 is it's going to be like 3 different parts. I was like, what the heck? Why is it so long? It's about I think about the investigative side. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So it's good to see you guys again. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Mary Beth. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Ladybug. Welcome in, guys. It's good to see you. Hey, Aries. DM's in here. Tammy. He's actually covering a case right now. I thought about covering tonight. Hey, Quinn. I don't know anything about it, though, to really tell you about what it is, but I was going to look into it. Hey, West. And I never got the chance because we came on live here. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Catherine. Catherine been a member for 14 months. Well, thank you for being a member for that long. That's really amazing. Thank you. And that's a good milestone. Look at that, 14 months. Time well spent with great people. Aw, thank you. Not me even, just the chat. The chat's better than me. You guys make the channel. Well, welcome in, everybody. Did I say what? Welcome in, West? I think I did. But welcome on in. And thank you for being a member. That's really is amazing. We're going to talk about, we're actually going to watch a podcast on Idaho tonight. That's what we're going to do. Matthew Perry death? What happened? Did they do something with Matthew Perry? I'm like, look at me looking in the chat. But we're gonna watch one of the Idaho podcasts tonight. It's not very long, so it won't be too terribly long. But I figured we would do that and just see kind of where we're at the end of watching that. Now I know that a lot of people are. Let me go see. I'm actually gonna go check. I'm gonna go check the live tab because I know a lot of people right now are on live. They're talking about the big thing to talk about right now is because there's nothing new in the Sebastian Rogers case. Well, some idiot came out by the name of Smoke, and apparently he was a caller for T-Rev, and he lied for T-Rev and said that he knew somebody in I believe the Maddie Soto case when he didn't. And I'm all like, that's not groundbreaking news to me. You know what I mean? Like every time we get a big case, someone calls into T-Rev's show. I never believed any of them. Brian Kohlberger called in. It wasn't him. You know what I mean? Like he's had people call in saying they're uncles, cousins, friends, brothers, sisters. The only time he's ever had anybody call in that was a relevance was Brian Kohlberger's friend, but it wasn't even his friend at all. They went to the same high school, different years, different times. And that's like it. So I was just like, man, that's like everyone's chats are full tonight. And I'm just like, what is going on? Because I was in Granny's chat this morning when it was said. And I was just like, oh, you guys didn't know that? Like that T-Rev lied about chats? Like, are people calling him? What? What's she doing? What is she doing? Oh, geez. Oh, okay. If that's what people want to watch. Betty's over there just streaming old Nancy Grace. Hey, Stephanie. It's good to see you guys. Okay. So I wanted to show you a couple things before we go to the Idaho podcast. TMZ actually did, and if they strike me, I swear I'll get them. I'll get them good. But they did this video, and I thought we would watch it. It just says something that doesn't add up about the University of Idaho murders. So I guess they're going to say something different. How could Brian Kohlberger, a first-time killer, walk into a house and unalive 4 people with a knife? Okay. I wonder if there's, I'm going to have to look at this. Learn more here.
Ocean, they come out over.
I just saw this on Twitter. Actually, I saw this yesterday. I think it was. Yeah, yesterday. But I didn't play it, and I didn't even listen to it for myself. But I listened to some of it, and they were just talking about the homicides. So we'll see what they have to say.
I am obsessed.
This may be like a starting of a series, because I do know that there's a docu-series coming out for Brian Kohlberger and something else for Brian Kohlberger.
With the Idaho murders case. And there's something that doesn't make sense.
And if this part right here is muted out, it's because of that damn music in the background. They copyright me for it. So I just mute it if that's the case.
Brian Kohlberger is charged with the murders, right? 4 people were slaughtered in this house with a knife. How is it that one person who has never, as far as we know, committed any kind of act of violence, how can they walk in a house with a
Bundy
knife,
do it?
knowing that there are 6 people inside, and one by one,
whatsoever,
kills
or what's the war?
4
Sorry,
of them, knowing that there's still people left. I mean, you would think that people would hear it, screams, commotion, they'd come out.
Yeah, I hope they don't get me for this.
So how does one?
Hear the beep, the stuff in the background. That's the stuff that they get you for.
Never done this before. His first rodeo, walks in with a knife.
You got a guy that is allegedly there 12 times, according to
that guy's actually really good.
In the months preceding. This kind of offender will mentally rehearse this dozens, if not hundreds of times in their mind. So this may be his first rodeo. It may not. We don't know yet. And he's got the element of surprise.
Well, there's a lot of evidence.
So that guy right there that was just talking, he does he has this chart for serial unalivers, and it's 1 through 25 or something like that. And he rates them on this scale of how bad they are, and compared to for their crimes and stuff. It's creepy. It's creepy, let me tell you.
The first 2 girls were most likely killed while they were asleep. The only person
he's some sort of forensic doctor. I forget. I think it said there on the screen.
Wounds and might have been awake was.
Hey, princess.
Was Ethan, her boyfriend, sleeping?
I think that Ethan was awake because he was in the doorway.
Right. He was awake. He is a much bigger guy than Brian Kohlberger and more athletic.
But also they had been out all night. They'd been drinking. They've been having a good time. Their house is known for people to be in and out. So he probably was like, yo, what are you doing here? And next thing you know, he's dead. And I really think that he did it almost like a thrill kill.
And he has a very long history too. If you look back at some of his training in high school, he's premeditated a lot of this fantasy that I think he's built up. He was kicked out of a training program with law enforcement because of
something weird with these two girls who made an accusation.
So he definitely seems to have an issue consistently with women.
Not only that, Kohlberger, even months before the stabbings, he even broke into a.
Okay, I kept wondering this. Why do they keep saying that Ethan was in the hallway or in the doorway? They don't say where anybody was. Really, they just say, I'll tell you. I'm gonna read you right from the affidavit. Officer Smith and I walked upstairs to the 2nd floor. Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the 2nd floor. Actually, I'm going to do you one better. Let me give you a visual. Okay. Let me stop sharing him for a minute and give you guys the visual. Okay. Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the 2nd floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle's room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door. on the south wall of the hallway. Everybody see the bathroom door to the left? As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined to be caused by sharp force injuries. So they don't say that. That's what they say in the affidavit. So I take it for what it's worth. Larry or Harvey.
A female
Is that his name, Harvey?
student's dorm just to move objects around, just to make her fear for her
But
life.
she wasn't there.
Right.
Okay, check this out. So this is the house. The number one is a bedroom where he killed the first two people. That's on the 3rd floor. Then he goes downstairs to number 2 and kills Ethan and his girlfriend in 2. In bedroom 3 and 4 on different floors, those are 2 people that survived. There's a bedroom in 6. He doesn't know if anybody's in 6. And by the way, there's a dog in 5. A dog can bite you. A dog can take you down. So he's walking in a place with 6 bedrooms. There are 6 people in 4 different bedrooms. There's a dog. There are 3 different levels. And you walk in with a knife?
I just thought of something. Whoever did this would have had to have known that there was that was Kaylee, like, right? That was Kaylee that they were unaliving, and that Kaylee, that was her room, and nobody else would be in there other than that dog. Do you get what I'm saying? Because as soon as like he would probably start, the screaming would start. You know what I mean? I'm sure the dog would start barking, and Brian would think, oh, someone's going to come out the door if, somebody was actually in that bedroom. So do you think he knew for sure, like kind of like that there would be nobody in there to wake up? Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know what you guys think. If he's talked good enough, he would have known that was Ethan's Jeep. True, that's true too. See, I don't know if I'd want to take on Ethan. I mean, they're about the same size, but I mean, Ethan's young too. Because, like, if you think about it, maybe he thought, what the heck just happened? Go back to the beginning. Maybe he thought that when he walked in there, well, I mean, okay, this is what I'm thinking. When he walked in there and she came out, he must have just been confident that you know what I mean, that there was nobody else in that bedroom. Unless he peeked inside the bedroom somehow and didn't get anything on Murphy, just like opened the door, somehow didn't have anything on his hand. I don't know how he wouldn't, but looked in the door, didn't see anything, saw the bed was turned down because she had that good vibe sign. She had the good whatever sign on her back wall too. We saw it the other night. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, wait, I did that last time. I didn't mean to do that. Like it's lit up, you know what I mean? So if you looked in there, you'd be able to tell if there's anybody else in there. I'm trying to think if... Yeah, you'd be able to see just if you just peeked in the door. Look, here I am. It's a small room. Okay. I don't think we were done watching that, and then it just decided to go off. Oh, no, it did it. Oopsie.
Way.
Right. He was awake. He is a much bigger guy than Brian Koberger and more athletic.
You think?
But also, they had been out all night. They'd been
He's not bigger
drinking.
than
They've been
not
having
much
a
bigger
good
than Brian
time.
Kohlberger. How big's Brian Kohlberger? Oh, I guess he is. He's like 6 something, isn't he? 6 foot something. So he's taller than Brian Kohlberger. But we heard from Howard Bloom that Brian Kohlberger was solid muscle because he got so many, surgeries after he worked all that weight off.
Time. Their house is known for people to be in and out. So he probably was like, yo, what are you doing here? And next
Me
thing you
too,
know, he's
Stephanie.
dead.
I do too.
And I really think that he did it almost like a thrill kill.
And he has a very long history too. If you look back at some of his training in high school, he's premeditated a lot of this fantasy that I think he's built up. He was kicked out of a training program with law enforcement because of
Something weird with these two girls who made an accusation.
so he definitely seems to have an issue consistently with women.
Not only that, Koberger, even months before the stabbings, he even broke into a female student's dorm just to move objects around, just to make her fear for her life.
But she wasn't there.
Right.
Okay, check this out. So this is the house. The number 1 is a bedroom where he killed the first 2 people. That's on the 3rd floor. Then he goes downstairs to number 2 and kills Ethan and his girlfriend in 2. In bedroom 3 and 4 on different floors, those are 2 people that survived. There's a bedroom in 6. He doesn't know if anybody's in 6. And by the way, there's a dog in 5. A dog can bite you. A dog can take you down. So he's walking in a place with 6 bedrooms. There are 6 people in 4 different bedrooms. There's a dog. There are 3 different.
That does take a lot of
weapons,
nerve.
And you walk in with a knife?
But this is also a mass murder
Good job, big guy.
where you have multiple people killed at one location without any cooling off period. And most mass killers, that is their
Oh, I can
first
show you a picture of
event,
him when he was
their
bigger.
first and only event. I think he was just so grandiose and narcissistic that he felt he could just pull it off.
My theory, based on everything we know, is that he
Those are the 3 pictures of Brian there. He was pretty big. He was a pretty big guy. He lost 100 pounds.
was potentially after Haley and Maddie. Haley's family says that he was following the 2 of them on social media, had liked some of their photos.
But also,
The
when
one
he was
on the-
arrested, he
all the way
requested
to the
a
right.
vegan diet, and both of those girls worked at a restaurant, like the number 1 vegan restaurant in the area. So it's very likely that he crossed paths with them. He maybe made an advance at them, or he crossed paths with them and said, oh, they're close. I like them both. Now I have a target.
If you're going to commit a heinous act like that, wait till she walks out of the house and she's alone in the driveway. If he was there as many times as everybody says, you kill 1 person.
If they're awake and she sees you approaching, she's going to scream and somebody's going to hear it. But if you wait till she's asleep and you attack while she's asleep, then you don't get a big scream.
He also entered the house on the 2nd floor. He surpassed anyone on the 2nd floor, went straight up to the 3rd floor, which is where Kaylee and Maddie happened to be.
But then he had to go downstairs to kill the other 2.
The 2 girls might have been the intention,
Yes.
but the other 2 could have been collateral.
Well, okay, but wait a minute. If the other 2 were collateral, why is it that one of the 2 survivors actually walked down in the hallway and saw this supposedly?
I don't think he did that.
The guy with bushy eyebrows, and he didn't kill
Look
him.
at him. Who's that?
He didn't
Like, really? Who is that? That's a different person. Look at them caterpillars. What? I wonder how old he is in this picture, y'all. Look at this picture of Kohlberg's. And then let me put an overlay over. It was one of his newest pictures. Look at him now. He looks a little different. Is this when he was on the rugs? Maybe the rugs might have did it. The rugs. Okay. Thanks, Enid. Thanks, Solo. Okay, that's what it is. Because I mean, but woo, boy, you look different. Your parents didn't notice that. Look at your teeth. Actually, I could tell with his teeth. Even if it wasn't his intended target, he could have went to the 3rd floor to maybe start from the top and make his way to the bottom, but he never made his way to the bottom. I don't get that, I think that he's like pulling him out because I don't know like how he would get tweezers though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Anne could give him that because it's sharp. It's something sharp and they're really weird about that. They'll give you a razor at 6 a.m. and you get it for 10 minutes. And if you don't use it within like 10 minutes, you're gotta give it back. Sorry, just gotta give it back. So I don't know how he's doing it, but he could be like pulling them. But they don't look like they're missing. They just look shaped up. You know what I mean? Like she shaved them down a little or something and shaped them up. But I don't know how she would do it without like, them. Well, I mean, I guess if she can sneak that in, I don't know if she can sneak it in. Well, they shave, but he doesn't shave his eyebrows. Like his eyebrows just look like maybe he does some sort of thinning out with that razor blade. You know what I mean? Wax. No, I don't think they would let. I don't know. I don't think that they would like allow him to alter himself like that, right? If the eyewitness is saying that he has bushy eyebrows and he comes in there with his eyebrows waxed, would they allow him to do that? Is that considered evidence? Like, that's a pretty good question. Like, because then, that wouldn't be fair, I guess. You know what I mean? Because that's like that's the biggest thing was like the eyebrows. Yeah, his eyebrows be looking completely different. Let me put up another. This is insanity. Look at him here. Let me get a closer picture. Look at that. Look. What? Kohlberger. There's when he went in. That was like the first picture. What do I have one here? There's one. See, those ones don't even look too bad, but that was when he was first arrested. These ones that's probably the best picture that I have of him, but like that you can see that I have up right now. There's one of this one, and then that's the same one, and then that one. I guess I have a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. His eyebrows don't look as bushy, and I think it's his forehead. Do you see his forehead? How it like this bone, whatever bone this is, his is thicker. So it like sticks out more. And I think that's why Bethany was able to see his eyebrows and be like, oh, those are bushy. He could have had his head down a little bit to where that sign like hit it at a certain spot, and hit his eyebrows, but it's his forehead. Do you see his forehead? Am I the only one that see this? Little right where his eyebrows are, that bone, I feel like is bigger than or thicker than most people's. In jail, they probably. I don't know how many times the barber would come, though. Probably every few months. Jails aren't that big. Pronounced eyebrow ridge. Yeah, Solo. Yeah. Yeah, Wes. Yes. Something like that. Yeah. I've thought this the whole time. Like, that's the way I think. And then with the masculine, I don't know. I thought that'd be more pronounced too. Like, here I am. Lori Vallow can get makeup. I know. Oh my gosh. I know. Did you see that? Like, okay. That is not no Kool-Aid. That is not no Kool-Aid she's putting on her face for makeup. Her makeup was like makeup. It was ugly, but it was makeup. Them eyebrows, oh my Lord. So speaking of Lori, we'll say something really quick about her. I used to wear my hair like up in a little ponytail, like this on my head. My hair was longer at the time and I thought it was really cute. And then like first day of Lori Vallow's trial, she had her hair like that and I've not worn my hair like that since. I was like, great, thanks. But I wonder how Lori Vallow is feeling. I hope she's feeling like shit right now. Hope Chad is too. Just for good measure,
Eyebrows, and he didn't kill her.
Well,
I think that he didn't anticipate having to kill those two additional folks. And once when he did that, that's why he panicked. That's why he left the sheath and he had to boogie out of there. And so when he saw that fifth person, he was like, I got to just get out.
My dad.
See, I think that he went up to, I think that right there were like, okay, let's just go back.
Person.
I think he was started going up the stairs to get the sheaf. Like, and then maybe he saw her and he was going up the stairs and it hit him like on the third step. And he's like, oh, wait, shit. Someone just saw me. I got to get out of here. You know what I mean? Like I'm too exhausted to try to fight another person. Or I mean, unalive another person, if that makes any sense. Because after 4 people, you've got to be exhausted. Beyond exhausted. I mean, like literally, Ethan Chapin, the kid, that's a big boy. That's a big boy to take down, you know?
He was like, I got to.
And then,
just
I don't
get
know.
out.
I think he went out the front door too. I'm really weird.
My
I'm
dad
really
owned
weird.
a
I'm
liquor
all
store,
backwards.
and I worked in it. And I remember people used to come in all the time and steal stuff.
I
cannabis or
know,
whatever.
Solo. I said that
And
the
I
other
always
day.
thought that those people are the people that eventually rob banks. But they don't start robbing a bank. They start in my dad's liquor store. This guy started at the bank.
Quite a few serial killers actually start as burglars. They start as burglars, and part of the thrill is violating that private space. And they'll go in at night and just watch the victim and then leave. I mean, I've had cases like that, and they don't do anything. And they do that for a while, and then that's no longer thrilling. And then they escalate where they might take a pair of panties, some kind of trophy, and then that's the thrill. And then it might go into rape or killing.
Well, he made a lot of mistakes, which I think that points to potentially, again, going back to the theory that he was following these 2 other girls, Kaylee and Maddie, on social media. That's who he was after. Potentially, he got no love from them. He felt rejected. So maybe the reason he made so many mistakes is he went in there with like blind rage.
See, the weird thing is, if you're right about blind rage, that doesn't align with stalking. Stalking is more intentional.
It shows purposefulness, that this was targeted. There was all this confusion.
I'm just wondering if you
Was this some random
can.
act? This was not some random act.
I think he's a budding serial killer. This was his first kill. He's been planning it for a long time. This is but he's a sociopath. And so I think he is a budding, had he not gotten caught, he is a budding serial killer. In addition to which, the sloppiness with the cell phone, a real pro would have left the phone at home on, which would have then shown that, yeah, I'm at home.
Like, what if you're the perpetrator and you have blue eyes and you come into court wearing contacts that give you brown eyes? Like, there has to be some sort of like law in place, some sort of something in place where you can't do that. Do you know what I mean? I got to get the answer to that. We need a lawyer. My shirt always says Dayton Strong. And it has paint on it. My shirt earlier had bleach on it. I showed you guys. I was like, look, I think it has a little bleach on it. I have all kinds of Ohio shirts from all around Ohio. I used to work at an Ohio shop. Shirt shop. I've got like too many. Yeah, I bet Aunt Taylor's plucking them for him. Man, we need to find that out. Is anybody married to a cop, or does anybody married to a lawyer? Anyone know? I'm about to call my lawyer. He'd be like, what do you want? That's true. Topic guy. I was just trying to think of something to compare because I just don't know why. I mean, I don't know how they would do that with the eyebrows, you know? Hey, Beam. I don't know if I said hi to you.
And had driven there. This whole turning it off and on right before is so stupid. It's
Kinda-
unbelievable.
kinda
I
is
actually
stupid.
feel like he
It's
wanted
actually
to get
stupid as
caught.
his
If
alibi.
He was like a looked over incel his entire life. That could also explain why he had 2 other collateral casualties. I think he wanted to get caught because look at the attention he's got.
I got to disagree.
He didn't want to get caught.
Sexual serial killers.
He wants to get caught.
He said, no, I just got sloppy. You can't think about everything. And that's the problem. These guys, they think they're so smart. They're going to prove how powerful they are, not just in what they do, but also in getting away with it. And they're never as good as they think they are.
Sorry, Kohlberg. You're not as good as you think you are. He wanted to get away with it. No one wants to spend the rest of their life in the slammer. You know what I mean? He wanted to get away with it. He wanted to teach about it. In my eyes, I believe it. I believe he wanted to go on and be a professor or a professor. I believe you want to be a professor. I really do. I think you wanted to be a professor. And I think you wanted to teach people like Dr. Ramsley. Maybe even at DeSales, maybe even at the same, I don't know, but I think that's what he wanted to do. Or, he was trying to apply to help officers with their technology and their, with technology, like in their investigations, but he didn't get the job. He didn't get the internship for that. But that would be a good job, actually, if you have a criminal justice degree. I mean, that would be a good job. Your Charlie horse is still in your body? Oh no, Mystic, I'm sorry. Wizard, that's funny. He sure as hell wanted to get on the internet and brag about it, Papa Rogers. Yeah, that's true. And Taylor helped him not look like Mr. Creepy Stalker. Yeah, she did. She really did. She did. Yeah, this is the first time I saw him. Oh, let me go back. Oh, shoot. It took me back to the beginning. Damn. Did I put him? Okay, put him Brian Culver. I've been trying to find the video of them putting the helmet on Brian Kohlberger when they were taking him and putting him in the car. I don't know why I find it so damn hilarious. I just do. Because we were all watching it live. We were watching the whole plane ride. And I found it on here. I saw it on here today somewhere, and it just made me laugh. Is it this one? Right here. Oh my God, look at this. Hold on. So, how many of you guys put a 1 in chat if you guys watched the airplane ride of, Brian Kohlberger from Albrightsville, Pennsylvania to, Idaho, Lake Tahoe, Idaho, or, outside of Idaho. But let me know if you guys were here whenever, maybe if you didn't watch it with me, but just around whenever he was cruising the altitudes. Because it was entertaining. I was like almost giddy, I felt like, because they got him. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I felt really good about that day. I bet you that's how like the families felt. You know what I mean? Like, they felt like a little bit like, oh my gosh, they got him. I can't believe they got him. And they're probably like, this is him. That's what we all said. This is him. Because Mr. JLR at first came out and tried to say it was two people, and it wasn't even neither of them people. Damn you, JLR. Man, a lot of you guys watched it. Man, I think we need to play it again. I mean, that was pretty good. We watched them on like the air flight, and then they would stop for like fuel or something. And the reason why Brian Kohlberger's dad supposedly drove out to Washington State, flew, to drive back with Brian Kohlberger, was because Brian was afraid of flying. We've all heard that. Like, he's afraid of flying. Can you imagine him on this little plane? This little like 6-seater helicopter looking thing, like probably shaking around. Oh my gosh, he's probably scared. But look at him. Put the helmet on him. Don't shoot him. Don't get him in the head. Look, they did not want him. They did not want anything happening to him. They had snipers and everything. Look at that. Look at him. He's like, damn, they're putting a bucket on my head. Better be clean. Where'd you get that bucket at, sir? Oh, man. Oh, man. I'll have to find the flight radar one sometime. Because we have it on one of our lives. I mean, we started covering this case early. It was real early. It was really early. What's this? The Idaho something isn't it? Watch clips. Oh, it's the same clip I just had on. What the heck am I doing? I don't know what this is. Oh, I opened another page. Sorry, guys. I'm like, what is that? Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll play the video. There's no new documents out. The last one that they came out with was this one, the scheduling order. We already went over it. They are going to start the jury trial at 8:30 on June 2nd. So it'll be 11:30 Eastern Standard Time because they're Pacific. So it'll be 8:30, 11:30 to, on. That'd be nice. Yeah, we won't have to wake up extra early. It won't be like 3 hours, ahead of us. And then they just have all like the final motions and stuff on this document. So we went over this a couple lives ago. So that's all that's there for that. Let me see. Okay, now we'll go over here. And I didn't actually get this ready, so it might have a commercial in the beginning. I'm not sure if it does or not. But this is the Idaho Massacre season 2. We've been watching this since season 1. If you want to watch any of the other episodes and you don't want to go to the podcast, you can always go to my page. They're all underneath my Idaho playlist, and they are they'll be the shorter versions because they'll be pre-recorded. And that means there's no interruptions. It's not a live. There's no interruptions, and it's just the video. But we're on season 2, and I'll have episode 1 out tomorrow sometime. And then I'll put this one out, in a couple days. So I will put overlays up so that we can, have something to look at. Hey, True Crime, how are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. And hey, Judy. How are you doing, Judy? 11 months. Is that how much more time we have? Oh, gosh. Yeah, 11 months. You're right. 11 months from the you're right. Let's count it down. 11 months will go fast. Because I remember we first started this case. My goodness. This case was they say, okay, I know Sebastian's case is wild. It is wild. This case was just wild in a different way. Do you know what I mean? That case is just wild because of YouTube creators being crazy. But this is wild because the Idaho Massacre is because everybody was acting crazy. Well, it just does. Let's see if I'm going to stop it and play it again too, because if I pause it, it'll go back to the beginning. It's weird. Just once.
Eaton presents.
Or sat on the brink of war. One man held together the fragile peace.
Dayton Door Sales has murder case. The decision was made. DaytonDoorSales.com. Integrity, value, experience. That's Dayton Door Sales.
Is there a tag in this shirt? No. Sorry, guys.
In this Idaho murder case, the decision was made, right or wrong, to demolish that house. Do you have an opinion on that?
I can see no viable, tangible reason for that home to be destroyed before the trial is complete.
Is there an immediacy for a jury going to a house, psychologically speaking? I would say yes.
This is The Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Season 2, Episode 2, Murder House. I'm Courtney Armstrong, producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Leidecker and Gabe Castillo. We were reminded last episode of the details of the grotesque horror that occurred at 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022, when Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle lost their lives. After the murders, it was seen by some as a forensic scene, or a tomb, or a macabre reminder of the horrors that happened there. But before all that, the house, located just off campus and on Fraternity Row, was full of life. It was a party house where friends gathered. Here's on-air reporter Anjanette Levy, who has covered the case on the ground since the very beginning. I asked her to describe the house and what it felt like standing in front of it.
This house makes me sad, and it made me sad because it was frozen in time. I'm standing there looking at this window, and there's a pair of pink cowboy boots in the window. When I was there in December of 2022 and then returned in early January after the arrest, what made me so sad is there was this string of lights across the back porch. And they were on. They were on. There was a couch out there, like this leather couch. As a mom, I'm like, what are you doing with a couch outside? But they're college kids, it's a college house. And this is a place where, it was a party house, but it was frozen in time in the worst possible way. The lights were on the entire time from the night this happened till I got back in January. And there's the couch covered in snow. And, you could kind of see into the kitchen. Everything stopped because this awful thing happened at this house that should have just been full of kids and laughter. And if they were going to not be there, it should have been because they were going home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Everything was shattered. That was my impression of it. I have mixed feelings about the demolition of the house. I understand that Ethan Chapin's family
I have mixed
supported the
feelings about
demolition
it
of the
too
house
now.
because it had become this horrible, macabre tourist attraction, which I think is horrific. But at the same time, I would hate for something to come up at the trial where it was needed. So I see both sides of the coin.
As Anjanette says, there are two sides to this coin, and most people fall strongly on one side or the other.
The family of the only male victim, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, saying in a statement, "We're supportive of the decision to take down the King Street house for the good of the university, its students, including our own kids, and the community of Moscow."
The house was considered the largest piece of evidence that they had.
The university defending their decision to move forward.
Our understanding is from a legal standpoint, everyone was finished with the house.
You kind of want to scream from the mountaintops, just let it be. Leave it alone. Don't touch it until the trial's over.
The house was ultimately demolished on December 28, 2023. It took one day and occurred 13 months after the murders. Shortly after the demolition, Stephanie has a discussion with forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan and data analyst Body Movin. You may remember her from Netflix's Don't F with Cats.
The particular house that they were murdered in was very specific. It was a unique layout, but the house itself was owned by the campus, and highly debated turn of events. They decided to destroy the house, to get rid of it altogether over winter break. And it's been a really heated discussion. On the one hand, that for the university, it's a bit of a real heartbreak on the town, on the school, also for students who went there, who were maybe triggered emotionally by this heinous crime that happened while they were attending school. Just generally speaking, probably just feels hideous to have this marker exist. And on the flip of that, some of the family members, and including some people participating in the trial, say that this is an active investigation site and that from a forensic standpoint, it has to stay intact, at least until after the trial.
I spend a lot of time on the internet, as you all know. That's what I do. And I talk to a lot of people who live in Moscow, and they are all affected by this house. They have to drive by it. It's in a really dense neighborhood. The jury is never going to be allowed to go in there. They're never going to be allowed to go in there. The acoustics are different. Flooring's been removed. Walls have been removed. I have photos, and you can see all the drywall that's been cut out of Maddie's room. Like, they're not going to go in there. It's just not going to happen. It's so uncommon for a jury to visit a crime scene. So uncommon.
But it happens, though. By the way, sidebar, one of the victims has a sister and a brother who do also still attend the university. So if I'm a family member of one of the victims, I want justice. Or if I'm even a family member of the accused and I want justice, how can we destroy the forensics?
Here's my real problem with it is the fact that there are homicides that take place every single day. There's a homicide going on right now as we speak somewhere in America. I can promise you that. They're not going to go out and tear down that structure. This is an outlier as far as tearing down a structure.
It is incredibly rare for a jury to visit the site of a murder. It's also rare for a building where a murder took place to be demolished.
Thank you. However, Thank you. Whoever needed to hear that shit, whoever needed to hear it, it's very rare. I've been saying this for a year and a half and everybody's been yelling at me. They need to go to the crime scene. Everyone goes to the crime scene. No, this is not the Murdaugh for OJ trial. But I understand. And I don't like, okay, I used to say, just tear the house down, whatever, just tear it down, who cares? I don't think that there was any, I don't think a jury could go in there. But I don't know if I would have torn it down when they did. I wouldn't have. What was it? It was on a certain date. It was on like a date that was like close to the anniversary or something. I forget. I'm gonna look it up. Because there is something like there was something special about that date.
Ones that fall into either category are usually multi-victim murders that are exceptionally heinous and highly publicized. Some cases where the juries did go back to the literal scene of the crime can often include cases where they may hinge on some form of integral spatial logistics. For example, Michael Peterson, where jurors walked the stairs where his wife died. Alex Murdaugh, so jurors could appreciate the scale of the large property. And the 2018 Parkland school shooting, which Joseph tells us about.
I even reflect back to Parkland, which I covered extensively. And look, I understand that the interior of Parkland was not changed at all. One of the most moving moments is where they talk about how when they led the jurors into that structure, remember Parkland had taken place on Valentine's Day. There were dried, crumbling roses laying on the floor, teddy bears with hearts on them. There were still bloodstains on the floor. And it too is government controlled. And let's face it, the University of Idaho is a government entity, and it is owned by the University of Idaho.
Of all the divisive factors in this divisive case, it seems the home's demolition drew more opposing opinions than almost anything else. Here's journalist Chris Spargo, who spent a lot of time covering the case. I started by asking him about the money spent on security of the home leading up to the demolition. It was $700 a day for securing the home alone, clocking in at $1.2 million months before the home was even torn down. Here's Chris.
The brunt of that is really
Nobody wanted to pay that. That's like paying them. That's almost like paying the mortgage for that house. $600, $700. I heard $600, but they're saying $700. $700, a day for, security and for them just to like keep the home standing up.
being absorbed by the university. The university has really kind of cost a lot of money for them because of security reasons. Obviously when the house was up for so long and that house had to be protected that entire time, people did a 24/7 watch. Dealing with this influx of people on campus, safety measures for students. There's not really much you can do to get around those costs. And because it took place in a university, there's a lot of costs that come along with that because they want to make sure the students feel safe. They want to make sure that the students feel protected. And they also want to make sure that this major piece of evidence, this house, is left untouched when there are thousands of people descending on this town who probably want to do nothing more than to get inside it or take a look around. They have to make sure no one went in that house. So that was a really, really big cost to bear.
What are your thoughts on the demolition of the house?
I do not think that the defense or prosecution would be okay with it if they thought there was any possible chance there was even like a little piece of evidence inside there. I think on the most sort of human and basic level, the last thing in the world you want those kids to deal with, which we're already dealing with so much, is to have to see that house. It's probably a horrible reminder. So for that reason, I'm really glad
I agree with
that it's not there. I don't know how much the scene was going to be
And I said that Ethan's brother was looking at that house every day.
helpful in that case. At this point, it seems like they're having trouble even placing him at the scene. So I don't know what was going to be accomplished maybe by having anyone visit the house. But like I said, I think that if there was any sort of bit of evidence that prosecutors thought they could get out of it or bringing people to the house, they would have kept it up. And clearly they didn't think there was that there.
Plus, with all of the bodily everything in there, all of it's everywhere. The jurors would be sick. They would get sick from that. They could get very ill. You would have to cram in 12 jurors, 6 or 8 alternates, the judge, the lawyers, all within a little tight space. It just wouldn't work.
The FBI, prosecution, and defense teams
In my
had access
opinion.
to the home on multiple occasions. The prosecutor's last visit was just 1 week before the demolition. The president of Idaho University, Scott Green, released a statement on December 14th, 2023. He wrote, "It is the grim reminder of the heinous act that took place there. While we appreciate the emotional connection some family members of the victims may have to this house, it is time for its removal and to allow the collective healing of our community to continue. Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
Eaton presents
about that.
Tales from the Next Game. Use your phone
Whatever you wish. Parks Motor to Idaho.
Stephanie continues her conversation with
At 1213 Cincinnati Avenue in Xenia, Ohio. And remember, rise, ride, repeat.
Stephanie continues her conversation with forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan and data analyst Body Movin.
Once it's gone, it's gone. The most intriguing images that I saw of the entire coverage relative to Idaho was there was a snap moment where you had agents that were back in the brush line, rear of the second floor where the sliders are, and they were squatted in the brush, and they were looking back towards the building. They were looking for fields of view at that point in time. What could you observe from this low growth scrub that was back there, these trees? Is it a location where the perpetrator could have parked? Is it an observation point where they could have seen people moving around at night? Is it at that key moment that he decided that when those lights went down, that he was going to make his move and make entry into that environment? All reference for that is gone now.
Not to mention, a big piece of the defense's case right now is that Brian Koberger claims to have an alibi. Again, we're talking about potentially more than one person being there or a different set of people being there. Were there multiple attackers? Was Brian not even there in the first place? Why would you destroy something? And I've learned this.
Okay, so my thing with the multiple attackers is that that'd be too messy. If you were planning unaliving, I don't even think two people together has ever even, I don't even think they've ever been successful at doing it. But you would have to have somebody that was on your level. Think of Kohlberger's level. Think of his level of OCD from what we've heard, his level of planning from, down to his little surveys. He would have to find somebody exactly like him. And then they'd have to be so stealth-like to be like going in this house, just one on each floor. I don't know. I just think that this is a one-person job, in my opinion. But, that's just me. BK could have a real friend. Hell no. Yeah, and that's the truth, too. Nobody really wanted to be his friend. He may have gotten these girls' phone numbers, which, in my opinion, they probably gave him fake numbers because that's what we do whenever we're young. But the guys were saying he was a little creepy, and I know that girls pick up on that way more than guys do. We know when there's a creepster around.
From you, by the way, the plumbing could have evidence in it. The concrete in and around the location could have evidence in it.
Yeah, let me say something about the plumbing real quick, and this brings the car into play. They think they've got the timeline settled here, but let's just say that an individual may have taken time to have gone and cleaned themselves. Did you take drain traps out? Did they run a camera down in the drain? I think my big thing is, and anybody that's kind of listening to us, our friends out there, if you live in a home that has an internal staircase, what do footfalls sound like on the treads on the interior staircase? Can you hear that? Can you hear somebody wrestling about? If you're on the second floor and it's going on the third floor, can you hear it if you're in the basement? We don't have a point of reference anymore. Still can't take the jury back out there. You can't have them go into any one of these rooms where these ghastly murders were committed and ask questions. Jury can't ask a question based upon,
in my opinion, what's the number one thing that you think in the house that you would want the jury to see? If you were a lawyer, a defense lawyer, what would you want? What would you want the jury to see in there? Personally, for me, if I was the defense, I would say, don't you dare tear the house down. And I would be focusing on that step, that one little step that goes down into Dylan's room, that goes down to the kitchen by Dylan's room. Because that step, I mean, that step is like a death trap waiting to happen. I would trip on it every single time. That could be a good defense. I mean, that could be like a good thing for your defense. Like, why didn't he trip over this? I bet it was somebody that was known. You know, you could like try to turn it. I don't know. The entry and the exit points, DM. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, that too, because me too, because I personally think he went through that front door. The front door was left open. It was open in the morning at 8:30 or 9. And I believe he went through the front because it wasn't as lit up as the back. If you look at pictures from the back, it's like so bright. I don't know. Oops, I hit the mic. I'm sorry. It's real bright, and I feel like that front, it was just so sneaky if you just slid right in front of the cars and walked through the door. I don't know. Just to me, it seemed like it would be easier. Yeah, that step, he had to have known that step. He had to have looked at Zillow or something. I wonder if they have that house on Zillow. Probably not anymore. I think they took it off a while back though, because like people were looking it up, but I found it on college pads or something. Oh, it doesn't even come up. Wait, let me see it. Like this comes up. No pictures. It just doesn't have any pictures at all. Okay. Never mind. Let me see if I can. Oh, wait. Why did I even look that up? I can show you the step on the other app. Sorry. Right here. Oops, I just actually exited out of it. Sorry, guys. We can do the virtual tour. Let me find the step for us. Okay. There it is. Let me show you guys. Oops. Let me show you guys this. Let me take the banner down. This thing's, oopsie, in our way. This right here is the step. See that step? So if you're out, this thing won't let me like go forward for some reason, or like, I don't know, something's wrong with this app. It's been really weird lately. So this is the step right here in this hallway. And I don't know how many inches it is. I forget. It's like, but it's, I mean, you know, it's a few. Everybody and their brother and sister, and, you know, everybody's wondering how he didn't fall and trip on that step. Oops. Let's go in the, yeah, let's go here. So there's Dylan's bedroom. There's the stairs to go to the 3rd floor. And then here's the step. Wish we could measure it. I would trip over it every time. I would hate that house so bad. I would hate that house so bad. I would be like, y'all, I probably have knots on my head, bruises on my knees, but maybe not. I mean, you know, that sign might have lit that up. Let's see. No, not to me, it doesn't. Oh, hell no, I'd trip over that. Oh, yeah, for sure. Surely. I'm blind in one eye, though, so you turn the lights out on me, I can't go nowhere. Vincent did that once. He turned all the lights on. I said, are you trying to get me to not be able to go anywhere? Every light was off. Tammy, I thought the same thing. That he might have been there, you know, at the house with the party. Yeah. Because he was at the pool party with people. I mean, you know, you never know. He may have found another friend that was invited him over there, or he may have just decided to show up in the neighborhood and walk right in. I know when I went to college campus at Ohio State to go and do our partying when we were in college. You could literally just walk down campus because all the houses are really old and big, like down on campus. And you just can walk down the road and they'd have the doors wide open. Come on in. They didn't care, guys, girls, whatever. If you walked right in like you belonged, they wouldn't ask you a question. Even if they owned the house, they wouldn't ask you like who you were. So he might have just did that, just walked right on in. Oh, Mary Beth, you have shits in your bruises. You fall. I fall. Y'all, I fall really bad too. I felt like a couple months ago so bad outside that it was like on the concrete. It was so embarrassing. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing. But my head was literally like not even inches, centimeters from hitting the side of one of those metal trash cans, like the corner of it. It was so close. I would have been bleeding. I don't know if oh my Lord have mercy, it would have been bad. So bad. Let me put that podcast back on. Oh, I hate falling.
Gee, look at that window.
I know too.
How you can see in from there to
I'm
here.
clumsy
How
too,
far
Mary
away
Beth.
is the distance from the entrance to the bedroom to the flight of stairs down to the second floor? How long would it take me to egress from the third floor to the second floor landing and then down the hallway?
You think about the feeling it conjures. We saw that in Pike County.
10
Stephanie's
seconds, 15
referencing the
seconds.
murders of 8 members of the Roden family that occurred in Piketon, Ohio.
Listen to this.
It's the topic of another KT Studios podcast and a case we worked closely on with Joseph.
That case, I grew up around there, 30 minutes from that place. Like that was a bad case.
After the massacres occurred there and right before the trial, the jury was put on a bus and set
Yes, they were.
out to observe the landscape where the homes where those murders happened had occurred. And, we were always told it was extremely powerful. There's nothing like
The homes weren't even there. They had to take, so during the Roden massacre, they had to take the homes off of the property for fear that people would break into them or destroy them. And they were evidence because people are cray out there.
like being in the location, especially when it's still furnished and those personal belongings that have now been removed for sentimental reasons,
Oh,
they should remain in that crime scene.
We gotta be
to
careful.
really make it personal. That's part of it. This is the most personal thing imaginable. Why would you make a
That's so
game day
cool.
decision a year before the game by destroying what could potentially be relevant? Doesn't this speak to the original point that the house should not have been destroyed?
This is just my opinion, but these scans are so advanced and
Oh, they're so great.
so well done. The house is unsafe for people to be in. And I don't
Absolutely.
know what kind of situation the rooms are in, but I can't imagine they didn't remove pieces of the floor from both bedrooms. It's
They
not
did.
safe for this jury to be in. Well, and that's what the
Someone gets
documents say.
hurt. Somebody gets hurt. You know how bad they could be sued. Oh, sue the state. Oh, no, not today. Not today.
Documents say the house was too dangerous. And both the defense and the prosecution agreed that this is not a place that they're going to be bringing the jury.
Actually.
I do hope that it was sufficiently documented. I know that they did do Pharaoh images within that structure
Yeah.
and also externally.
So Pharaoh images, we did a whole episode over that. It was really good episode live on the show. It's on our Idaho playlist. It was over the Pharaoh 3D scans. It was back in the day we did it, like year before. I mean, it's been a long time. And it was a really good live because and I showed you guys an episode of a show where they used those and exactly what they scanned in a crime scene and what it showed. It would show like everything.
We asked Joseph for clarity.
Cigarette butts, whatever was on your carpet or your floors. I mean, if it was something behind a chair you forgot about 3 years before, it would pick it up. I mean, it's crazy.
Clarification on what Pharaoh images are and how the Pharaoh system works.
Oh, look, now they're going to tell you.
You first see the earlier iterations of these things when they're referred to as total stations. They were made famous by accident reconstructionists, where you have this one machine that they could essentially plot from a digital standpoint a motor vehicle accident, because to work a motor vehicle scene is, to say the very least, time consuming, and the calculations are mind blowing. So they took that platform and expanded it relative to this Faro device, Faro. But you can take this Faro device and place it at a scene, and just imagine it's got the ability to spin on its axis thousands of different directions, and all of the while it's shooting out these little lasers and it's taking thousands of photos. And so it can digitally take those images and compile them, and it gives you very detailed information. It also has GPS that's in it. You take it into a confined space like a built dwelling like this, and the detail is very remarkable, and you can create this 3D world. It is quite fascinating to see. So that's what a Faro station is essentially. There's been some talk of some 3D model that may be created by the FBI lab in Quantico and be presented for the court. But I got to tell you, I've been out on a number of visits to homes where homicides have taken place, and I've been there when the juries are there. And it is a real dose of reality for them when they show up. From an investigative standpoint, if you have it, don't throw it away. I'm not a junk collector personally, but this ain't junk. This is where these lives ended.
And just, to piggyback on that, some of the other victims' families were very against it for this very reason. What if there is one little morsel of something that could bring justice to them, or frankly, get a guilty man off?
There's other cases where they've torn the apartment down, like, for instance, Jeffrey Dahmer. However, they waited for the trial.
Yeah, that's the rub.
So yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, John Wayne Gacy's house is gone.
John Wayne Gacy's house needed to be gone. Oh my, he had unalived boys underneath the floorboards, like underneath the crawl space of the home. So that home is not, you couldn't keep it. Those floors were done. The mom was smelling it. What's that smell? Oh, nothing, Mom. That's just, me cooking. Jeffrey Dahmer's house was about to fall over if you kicked it. So no wonders why they tore that thing down too.
There's nothing.
But Faro didn't really exist like it does now back then.
That's true.
It's a different time. And I would imagine at some point, it's going to be virtual reality, where these juries can put on a headset and walk through the house at their leisure.
They can, but
Y'all, if they do some, oh my Lord, I want to be on a jury. I want to play with the headsets.
You had mentioned earlier about the acoustics might not be the same. However, people that are impaneled on juries, they're not AI. I mean, they are living, breathing human beings that know what it's like to walk into a house, and that sense that you get, that auditory sense of a footfall. And I know that part of the floor has been removed and all this, but when you think about just the timing element, if I were asked, how long would it take me to make it from the sliders to that weird, that if we just go on a limb here and say enter through the sliders, how long would it take to make it from there to the interior staircase and twist and turn and get up there? And also in the darkness, I think about all of these in the relationship, spatial relationships, and all these sorts of things. And yeah, I know Faro is great, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm sure the presentation will blow everybody away if we're permitted to see it. But there's still that one little splinter in my brain.
The feeling. I often equate it to, like, I like to read books, like the actual book. I don't want to read it on a Kindle. It's like I like to touch the paper, I like to turn the page. So
Yeah.
it's maybe the same kind of like
Right.
thing where you're there in person and you can smell and use all your senses to get an idea of what happened. And you're not going to be able to have that with a 3D scan.
The draw to the house after the murders is one of the reasons it was demolished. People were coming from far and wide to view the house, some with the horrible intention of taking a souvenir from the scene. We felt it was something important to try and understand, so we reached out to psychiatrist Dr. Gail Saltz, clinical associate professor of psychiatry at New York Presbyterian Hospital and host of the podcast, How Can I Help? Dr. Saltz had been quoted in an article we found about our culture's obsession with murder houses. Here's Dr. Saltz with some information about the phenomenon, followed by Stephanie.
The house is sort of like the museum of it. It's easier to imagine being part of it or in it or thinking about it, the horror of it. Much like if you said, here are the clothes of the people, or here is the weapon that was used, and you can physically look at it and hold it. And of course, homes represent all kinds of things. Homes represent the place where these people lived and had lives. And most people's homes means feeling safe and feeling joy of, whatever it might be, their family, their friends. I mean, in this case, right, their friends, being in college, feeling invincible at that age. And of course, most people are not thinking about you could be a victim in your home.
It's like, how do we prevent these kinds of things from happening? Or how do we maintain our own sense of safety when sometimes the perpetrator is so ordinary?
Many people have a desire to feel a little scared in a safe way. And we are naturally curious. The identification is partially with a victim of like how horrible the horror of that is, right? To feel like at that last moment, somebody stabbing me with a knife, like those kinds of thoughts, and imagining what's inside that guy's head that he would plot this and plan this and want to do something terrible.
In this Idaho murder case, interestingly, the decision was made, right or wrong, to demolish that house. Do you have an opinion on that?
I mean, there are rules and regulations about what can happen with evidence that it can't be brought into a courtroom. And that seems like more of a legal question.
To get that legal opinion, I spoke with Kirk Nerby, legal analyst and former defense attorney for Jodi Arias. Jodi Arias was on trial in 2013 for murdering her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander. The trial was televised worldwide and became known as a circus in the press. Here's Kirk.
Well, Jodi Arias did yoga while she was waiting on the cops to interrogate her. What do you mean? That woman was nuts.
I can see no viable, tangible reason for that home to be destroyed before the trial is complete. The jury may have questions. Part of the evidence against Mr. Kohlberger is this eyewitness testimony of seeing someone with bushy eyebrows. There's been talk of hearing footsteps from upper levels, things of that nature. And those could be issues and questions that the jury has in their mind. How could someone see these eyebrows under these circumstances? Could they really hear this? All these different things. And there could be dozens more that I have not thought of. And here you have this piece of evidence, and it is destroyed for no logical reason. Let's say something came up with the defense case, and the defense said, hey, we need to look at this. And that
I'm just pausing it because the defense said, tear it down. We don't need it.
becomes a Sixth Amendment issue. Is Mr.
Sorry.
Kohlberger getting a fair trial based on these circumstances? And that could result in a death verdict getting overturned. But right now, until the case is over, it seems nonsensical, to say the least, to destroy the building.
Well, that's a concrete answer, but it seems like the people who might have most wanted it taken down might then impact the victims negatively if, for example, a sentence is overturned because of it.
Yes, we don't know what could pop up, what could be of evidentiary value down the line when things are challenged, when things are questioned. So yeah, to me, it just makes no sense, at least as it relates to the case in general, and could only serve to harm the case.
Let's stop here for another break. We'll be back in a moment.
What's the hardest question you've ever asked your mom for an unholy
about queer history?
Wanted to
love and embrace yourself.
Do you want to get out?
How items from the now demolished house.
Come see me at visitmo.com.
Stephanie and Joseph Scott Morgan discuss how items from the now demolished house might be used during the trial.
One other thing that's very compelling about this case is that they hauled off the mattresses in the back of a pickup truck. They can still bring these items into court, and that has occurred. They can actually have been in courts where they set beds up before. Here's the real rub with that. If you're talking about dynamic blood stain, you can say, here's the mattress that we recovered. Here's the bed frame that we recovered. We see this deposition of blood on the surface of the mattress. Maybe they hold up a bloody sheet. If that happens, you're going to hear the defense scream from the rooftops over this because they're going to say it's prejudicial. The prosecution is going to have to justify their rationale for bringing each one of these items in there. And the defense, I guess, could see it as prejudicial, but they could also argue the idea that now that they are absent that's something that they can not go back and collect. It's real important that we remember, I think, that they were so eager, they being the investigative authorities, to get this place cleaned out, that they had called a cleaning crew to come and clean up the structure before. It almost happened simultaneously with the arrest of Koberger in Pennsylvania.
Joseph is referring to when Brian Koberger's defense attorney, Ann Taylor, filed a...
She's going to say that Ann Taylor pulled them people out of there. They did. We were watching it. We were watching it live. They went to go clean out the house, and we're all like, this is sad. We're sitting here like, watching. And they put the tarp up over the door. They backed up the vehicle, like the truck, so that you couldn't see anything, and they had the tarp up, and they were getting ready they're entering the house and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, it took them like 45 minutes to set everything up. And you're like, when is it going to be set up? And then all of a sudden, within 15 seconds, you see them take everything down and they just pieced out. And we're like, what happened here? What's going on?
Court motion to stop the cleanup operation to
Now we
preserve
know.
the scene of the crime.
Ann Taylor.
This motion was filed on December 30th, 2022, just hours after Koberger's arrest.
And if I remember correctly, it was
good.
His counsel that said, whoa, throw the brakes on. We need to get a team out there to take a look. And I'll never forget seeing that image of
That is so
the
cool,
plastic
Stephanie.
that had been taped up over the door so that they could go in and move out and all this stuff. And then there was controversy
Their
of taking out
things were all
personal.
so their items were all this is sad. We read this in that article, and it was, or Mr. Gonzalez. I think it was Mr. Gonzalez. I know it was legit wherever we heard it. But the officers packed up their things and put their things in boxes. And like when they carry them out, like when we see them on video carrying them out, they're all like, they're marked. I saw them. One of the boxes was marked Beth. We assume it's for Bethany. But the Gonzalez says when they went to go get their children's thing, or their children's, because Maddie too was like their child. They had to go into this warehouse type of area to go find their stuff. It was all scattered out everywhere. They had stuff that was like, why did you bring this? Like, some stuff, it was like, why is this even here? And they said they had to literally wear those helmet hats with the lights on them. The little, like miner's hats, so that they could see, because the place didn't have any electricity, so it had no lights. And this is where the officers were keeping the victims' personal items. So, yeah, I don't appreciate that, but that's what we've heard. Hats with lights. That sounds like a conspiracy, but it's not.
Items. And, once you've kind of breached, that threshold so quickly in this environment, there's not a damn bit of sentimental material that is out there that's worth compromising this. Because, yeah, I know that it's ghastly. It's a horrible thing, but life is full of all kinds of horrible things. This, I think, is potentially a diminishment of the memory of these kids that were killed there. But now it's too late at this point. You can't go back and unring the bell.
Stephanie continues her conversation with psychiatrist Dr. Gail Saltz on how a jury might be impacted by the home's demolition. Here's Dr. Saltz.
Is there an immediacy for a jury going to a house, psychologically speaking? I would say yes, that it's going to stir their thoughts in a more emotionally galvanizing way, and that will draw them in, but it doesn't tell you whether it will draw them in and make them say guilty or innocent. And now, where I think it could affect them is if they are convinced that this person is the perpetrator and they are brought into a circumstance that makes them feel more emotionally distraught. I think that could affect a sentencing like death, no death. And this is why prosecutors bring in photos and movies and voice recordings, because, they are trying to not only deliver content, but they are trying to deliver more immediacy, deliver more empathy to a jury, and have them feel more intensely and stronger about what's happening. I think being in a house certainly could add to that. It's not the only thing that could add to that. I think there was a point made that the house didn't look at all inside anymore the way that it looked. And so that could have the opposite effect, right? They could go in expecting to see something that looks like college students are living there and see none of that, see a sterile space. And that could have the effect of making them feel like what was so bad, what was so terrible. So it's hard to predict whether that would be helpful or harmful.
I hadn't thought of it that way. True. The disassociation from what is now a different space is a really good point.
What I would say is virtual is always one step removed from being in person. I think courts have discovered that putting things in a video format absolutely makes an impact. Is it eked out by the idea that you're coming out of the courtroom and into this space, and you know that you're standing on the spot where this thing happened? I think that has a more emotional impact. Is it necessary if you have the video? Might the video of what the inside looked like at the time that it actually looked that way, which was at the time of the crime, have more impact than the physical plant that doesn't look any more like it did at the time of the crime? It might.
Next time on the Idaho Massacre, an exclusive interview with Cassie, a former student of accused murderer Brian Koberger's. She is speaking out for the first time.
Oh, damn.
What was the class about?
We covered literally how to get away with murder.
Whoa.
Did he have any friends?
Not that I saw, but kept to himself anytime I saw him on campus or in class or office hours.
So this man potentially murdered 4 people, and then he went back to class?
Yes.
For more information.
Wow, guys, look at that. Wow. Wow. I'm ready to hear her. And we'll hear her on the next live. Share this with you again. This is the document just saying that, court is going to be, trial is going to be on the 2nd of June. June 2nd. Courtroom number 3 at the Latah County Courthouse, but they'll probably move it over to the school so they have more room. I hope they do. I'll go over there. I'm just kidding. I don't think I can make it that far. That's a far drive. I wonder how far it is from. I'm about to look. Let's look how far it is. Let me see. Mary Beth, how far is Utah from there? Like, how far are you from there? Because I thought this would be in California could have been close, and it was like ridiculous amount of hours. I'm not good with geography, apparently. Apparently not. Okay, so this. And then we're going to go to It would take me 32 hours with tolls, 33 hours without them. 2,200 miles. That's crazy. You know? That's a far drive. I'd do it though. No, I'm just kidding. That's too far. I'd have to fly. I'd have to fly over there. That's a flying kind of thing. You'd have to fly. It's a few states away. I couldn't remember. I'm not good with geography, like I said. We put a map. Vincent and I were gonna move like out of Ohio, and I don't know why we haven't. I mean, we really don't need to be here. We don't want to be, but we put like a map on our wall, like in our bedroom. This was like forever ago. It was like one of those like United States maps, and I bought it, and I was like, we need to like visualize where we want to move. So we had these different like colored like thumbtack things, and we marked out the states that we were just like, heck no. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to live there, which was like Tornado Alley and stuff, you know, like places like that. We don't want to get like sucked up in our like tornado. But we never really picked a spot. There was a few that was really like nice. I think Florida was on there, like a place in Florida. There was one like in Texas. I forget where it was. I even like the Carolinas. I think the Carolinas are beautiful states. Vincent doesn't think so much. He doesn't. Well, he doesn't know. That's what's sad. He doesn't know. 3 months worth for his trial. It might be Aussie. Look at Karen Reed's. Wow, that thing seemed like it took forever. I was like, and then it was a mistrial, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if this is like worse than them just saying she's not guilty, because it's like we have to do this all again. Like, you know what I mean? Like go through trial again. Like it's under an hour and a half for you, PKC. I knew there was someone that lived closer. Okay, look at that. Wow. Are you going to go for trial? Now, if I lived an hour and a half away, I would. Oh, really, Ozzy? Vincent's from LA, right outside of LA. Literally right outside. And there's so many little towns there, like cities. There's city after city after city. Here it's like, you know, you drive a little while. 29 days. Yeah. Vincent was even asking me, is it over? Oh, I've been wanting to go to Tennessee. Really, I have. I've been wanting to go. I've heard it's beautiful. I heard like Gatlinburg and stuff is like really pretty, and we need like somewhere where we can go and unwind. And Vincent doesn't flip a kayak this time. He did that last time. Long drive, yeah, fly. I would fly. That's what we usually fly to California once a year. We go there, and then with the time change, when we get to Cal, I'm like, oh. It's the worst. It's not the worst. It's just, it's like, you just get jet lagged. Like I get jet lagged. So like the first day that we're like in California, I literally just want to go like get my stuff, because I know exactly what I want when I get there. Just grab my stuff that I like, go back to the hotel, sit there and not do anything but like just hang out and kind of chill and maybe sleep. That's what I like to do. And then when I come home, that's what I like to do the day of, because like we leave late at night. We take the red eye home, but then we end up being home at like 10 a.m. I don't know. It's really weird how the times change. Just like, what is going on? And it really messes me up. So, but I love California, and I love going. I love that I have the opportunity to go every year. I mean, that's a blessing, you know. That's really if you think about it, it's a blessing. Salem, North Carolina. Oh, wow. You live in Tennessee, Squeaky Bill? Really? 50 miles from where Sebastian disappeared? Wow. No one ever goes to South Dakota or North Dakota, I feel like. Wonder why. Hey, isn't the monument there, like the presidential monument? I don't know what it's called. I forget what it's called. I'd like to go see that. Home of the Winston cigarettes. That's funny. I haven't seen a cigarette in so long. It's been a long time. But if someone's smoking, I'm like, smell it. Give me one. Just kidding. You've never been anywhere, Dreamcatcher? You've got to go somewhere. We've never been anywhere. Where are you? We gotta take you somewhere. What do you mean? We gotta take you somewhere, girl. Pretty over there. Chimney Rock Lake. That sounds like pretty. Just an hour away from. Oh wow. I want to go to Tennessee. I do. Now I want to go. Man, maybe I can get Vincent to go. You've been to the beach in South Carolina? I've been there. I've been to Myrtle Beach a few times. Me and Vincent actually went. We went to Florida, and then when we drove back up, we stopped in Myrtle Beach. This was right when Myrtle Beach started getting a little cray cray. CrimeCon's in Denver this year. That'd be beautiful. Denver would be. I wanted to tell you about what was kind of going on. So let's see. Basically, and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow during the day or something. I mean, it's everyone's going to talk about it by now, but it's just, weird what's going on. So apparently some guy I guess he has a YouTube channel and he just monetized it like today. He went up on Granny's panel and was like, he was saying that he was I forget who he said he was, and we can watch Granny's live and listen to it. But he said he was somebody that knew Stephen Stearns in the Maddie Soto case. So I don't know if you guys listen to T-Rev, if you remember a caller from the Maddie Soto case. But apparently that caller's come forward and said, he told me what to say. He told me what to do. I did it because he told me to do it. And then the guy comes out and he straight doxes Cluminati. Then it's even better. It gets better because now there's, now it's like, oh, the drama, right? The drama. And then her good friend Dago goes on panel on Granny's. So it's Granny Smoke Dago. And I was listening in. I wasn't paying attention, but Cluminati said that Dago was on there for a long time before she went up there. And he wasn't saying anything like, why'd you do that to Clue? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Because that's supposed to be her, like one of her good friends. And she was upset about that. And she went off on her live. Woo! Watched it for a second. She was going off. But she also went off on this live. And there's a couple words in there. I think Granny edited them out. But yeah, there was a couple words in there she said that would get you demonetized. But she was mad. So now it's like, ooh, drama. Drama. Gotta love it. That Sebastian Rogers case is freaking crazy. It's crazy. But it's crazy the amount of people that'll come into your chat to listen to you talk about nothing. Like, you're not talking about anything about Sebastian anymore. Everyone's talking about something else. Let's go look at the live tab. Let's refresh the live tab. Let's see. See what people got going on here. Fraud alert. See, we got Queen Bee fraud alert. May have to swing over there. No, she says fraud alert at T-Rev 757 at Seth Rogers. Set up fake. Let me see. Fake calls / drama. Little Smoke snitches. I'm out. So it's Little. I guess his name's Little Smoke. I didn't go. It took me back. Sorry. Then we've got on my live tab, Web Sleuths. They're doing Noah Pressgrove. That's nice. And like a couple other cases. I'm trying to see you. I don't know who John QQ is. They're watching the old Nancy Grace episode. Just like, Betty was or whoever. How long ago was that Nancy Grace episode with them? Months. Someone else was doing it too. Now I can't remember who, but I guess everybody got off for Sebastian. No one's on there. Oh, look, Clue and Dago are on the same panel. I guess they're talking it out. I don't know. It's weird. You like John Q? I don't know who that is. I've never seen his name before on my like little thingy. I'm not trying to steal your stuff. I just want to see who you are. Does he show who he is ever, or is he just? Why do I feel like I do know who this person is? Hold on. I don't think I do. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I do know who it is. Oh wow. There's some people. There's a couple channels I don't know. I didn't realize that people knew me. I didn't. And now I feel like I'm like the little sister or slash like the little one of everybody because everyone like took up for me, the last couple days, which was beautiful. I loved it. But I'm like, you guys know who I am? Because I was in the chat, spying to see what they were saying in the chat before I go in. He's been around a long time, helped with the marathon for Summer Wells. Oh, that's so sweet, Dreamcatcher. Oh, thanks, DM. Tanya, you're the queen. I'm going to get a crown. Oh, thanks, Mystic. Thank you. You are too. He just asks a lot of questions. Well, I do too, KW. I do too. I'm like a little kid. And that's my problem too. Like I ask so many questions. Okay. For instance, my mom was on like a set budget, when after my dad passed away. And I just felt really bad for her. Like she was okay, but I just felt bad. Like I felt like she deserved more. And I said, what, like I was thinking in my head, like, what if I like passed away before my mother? I don't know why I thought this way, but I'm crooked in my brain and I did. So then I thought, wonder if they would take out the titanium after I died, and they would give that to my mom and my mom could sell it. This is how far my brain went and use that money for whatever she would need. Like that's how far my brain went that way. So then I took it a step further because this is how crooked my brain is. I called the funeral home. I called the damn funeral home and they know me. They were laughing. We were all laughing, but it was funny. It really was. My mom was laughing. We were all laughing. But I was like, would you take that out? And he was like, well, you kind of just, go in with what you have unless you're like cremated or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, usually whatever you come in, you keep. Because I also asked about my eye. I was afraid they would take my eye out. I don't know. But yeah, they're like, no, whatever you come in with, you keep. And I'm like, oh, so I try to get my titanium to my mom. I was like, what if? Then there was what else did I ask? There was someone, I called my doctor and I asked them how much my metal weighed, like how much each thing weighed. And they were like, like I asked them questions and they don't know. They're like, we've never been asked this before. And I'm like, well, why not? Oh, thanks, Kraken. Tanya, one of the only genuinely nice creators in the YouTube true crime community. Thank you, Kraken. I appreciate it. I do. I really appreciate it. I really try. I really do try. I know, isn't it true crime? Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, well, it was right after my accident. I must have been like, my brain must have just been on fire to think like all those things, for me to like go to the point of calling the funeral home. And then I was like, well, I'm going to ask about my eye too, because I thought maybe they take it out. I don't know why I thought that. Like, I thought maybe the burial would be easier or something. I don't know. And he's like, no, you'll keep that. I'm like, okay, just making sure. They were laughing at me. I was just like, I'm sorry. Doctors, they were laughing at me. I mean, it is funny because I have like the craziest questions that people don't really ask, but but people would want to know. And so it's just crazy. That's why actually I started my channel was to do trauma with a T. But then we turned it into true crime. I know we got a lot of birthdays coming up. Yeah, Kat's birthday's coming up. It's in like 3 days or something. Yeah, she said yesterday it was in 4 or something, right? Isn't it the 5th or? We should do a birthday stream. I have titanium plates and screws all over my body too. Really, dirt bikes and horses. Oh wow, squeaky wheel. I got bucked off a horse the first time my friend put me on one. That damn horse didn't like me. It just didn't want me to ride it. I don't know. It didn't buck me off hard, but it was hard enough to where I was like, I'm done. I'm over it. My mom's birthday would have been the 19th. Mystic, I love sour cream and onion chips. I haven't had them in forever. You have small titanium implant in your back. Oh my gosh, Linda. Oh, your back. Oh. When I went to the hospital, my room was huge. It was so big and it was brand new. And oh my God, it was gorgeous. I mean, I was cool in there. I was like, just let me lie. But this lady was in there like in front of me because there was like it was 2 beds and then a curtain. And she was in there because she had back surgery and she had all this metal put in and she had like 50 some staples going down her back. And she was elderly, like 70s, I want to say. But she was sharp as a tack. Sharp as a tack. I loved her. I gave her my phone number when she left. We exchanged numbers. I can do that, Mary Beth. Were you in a comfort room? I don't know what room I was in, the best room of my life. I was like, just let me be. Well, at first I was in like the ICU. And I kind of remember that, but not really. And then they moved me to Atrium. And I kind of remember that a little bit. That's when like my friends started showing up. I was like after surgery and I'm just kind of like laying there like, you know? And then when they moved me to Road Hall. And then they moved me to Dodd Hall. And I thought I was getting out Monday. I went in on a Thursday, I think it was. And I thought I was getting out on a Monday. I didn't realize I didn't have an eyeball. Like my mom was like, what do you think? Where do you think you're going? Like, I was like, I'm going. She's like, you can't even walk. Your legs are shattered. Where do you think you're going? So she had to explain to me that I was going to rehab to learn how to walk again and learn how to talk, learn how to eat, learn how to blink. I blink, like to wink took a long time to learn how to do that. Like things like that. So I cried a little bit. No, I didn't cry. I actually didn't cry at all. I boo-hooed for a minute. And then I said, okay, let's, whatever. But then when I got there, I was like, this place is awesome. I was like being wheeled in and this guy's like, you want a refrigerator in your room? I'm like, yeah, I do. Of course I do. My mouth was wired shut. I need my ice cream. What? Boo thing is having to wear this metal eye patch and she's not happy about it right now. Oh, is it the patch shield? Is it the shield? Does it have like a little bandage maybe around it? Or it's probably the same one either or. Oh man, those suck. Like the ones after surgery, kind of. I tell her I can relate. I had an eye patch on just last year. I was doing lives with my eye patch on. I usually have a surgery each year, it seems like. But I haven't had one. Last year I had one. I haven't had one this year. I was in a real bad car accident, topic guy, real bad. Engine came in on my legs and I was trapped in the car for like 2.5 hours and I lost my eye and I'm full of metal. I'm gonna tell my story sometime. I keep saying that, but I don't know why. I should just do it. Just come on and do it. Both knees and hips replaced still. Oh my lady, but man, your knees. Oh, that's one of my fears is my knees, and my heart is another fear. I was in the hospital just over a month. They kept saying that I was going to be in there for a lot longer, but I kept surpassing like the goals. And I guess my body and my mind just really wanted to get out of there. I went into this whole other person that I didn't even know who that I was. Like the strength that you really have inside of you is insane. And the amount that your body can actually handle is pretty incredible, I do. I need to. I have some of my like implant paperwork right over here. I need to do that. My doctor actually wrote me. He actually wrote me again. I wrote my neurologist finally and told him about my nerve pain. I haven't told him. I did crack it. I met Vincent after my accident. I met Vincent 2 years after my car accident. And 4 or 5 months after my mother passed away, I was a mess. I thought I was okay. Like, first date, we went out. I didn't cry or nothing. That was cool. But then it hit me one day and I was just a mess. And instead of him like running, like he should have probably, because it was like 3 days in when I broke down. I just had a real bad, just really sad. Um, he took me to Florida to see my aunt and uncle. He's like, "You need your family right now. Let's go." And he's like, "Pack your bags." And I was like, "What?" And we went on the most amazing vacation I've ever had. We stayed at these beautiful hotels. Like, after we saw my aunt and uncle, we went and saw we stayed in all these beautiful hotels all up and down the coast, like Florida. We went all the way to the tip of Florida. We stayed in South Beach, Miami. I mean, it was beautiful. I met him on Tinder. Swipe right. We both swiped. I decided to try it because I lived in Columbus, and I was like, maybe I'll go on a date. I never dated really, ever. And then I met him. Vincent did that for me. Yep, DM. Yep. Yeah. He took me, we were gone for like 10 days. He's like, "Let's go." He dropped everything, got in the car, and we just took off. And it was the best. It was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I needed. And then I realized, I was like, this guy's a keeper, I think my mom sent him to me. Like, seriously, like, I mean, my mom would be so approval. Like, oh my mom, she would just approve of him. She would. You've never seen Tinder? I never thought that I would meet someone off Tinder and date and be with them this long. But and he's never had a girlfriend before, so he's like fresh, beautiful, lovely. He's the best. He's seriously the best. I really am. I'm incredibly lucky. I tell you guys that every night. And Vincent's mom watches the stream, so she gets to hear it too. She's probably thinks her son's the best, but he is. He really is. And if you're listening to Haru, thank you for having him, because he really is. He's a nice guy. And that's why they're like, his job's pushed him towards like customer service stuff. And I'm like, Vincent, it's because nobody in IT is relatable. They're not customer service friendly. They're no introverts or, And I'm like, you're good with people. Right, DM? I think I trained them the way, I did. He literally, y'all, if y'all just knew, he cooks for me. I do all the cleaning. He does all the cooking. But he drives. I never drive. He always drives me. I'm the passenger princess. Yeah. I always say things out loud. I just do. It's just a thing I do. Like, if I'm thirsty, I'm like, "Oh, I want a drink. Oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom." Like, I say it out loud. I don't know why. I give too much information, but I'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to get a drink." And then he just gets up. Right. And I'm like, "You don't have to do that." 9 years almost later, still doing it. We have. Yes, Mystic. Yeah. I try to send her more stuff, but Vincent won't let me. And she said, I think she told him no more. But she has the stuff we've given her, like right in her front room, like in her living room, and it's so nice. I like getting her stuff though. I got her. Vincent, I gave him the idea because I thought it was great. He gave her a book because he doesn't know a whole lot about his mom. Not like I know about mine. Like, I know just everything that's like, even like the weird stuff, like where she was born, her, boyfriend in high school. Like, I know all that kind of stuff. Well, there's a book you can buy. There's like different ones, and they'll say, like, each page will have a question. Like, where did you grow up? What was your favorite color? What was your favorite thing to do? Like, just like, I don't know, these like little things. And it lets you write on what the answer, and then you give it to your loved one. And so you'll have that like as a keepsake. Do you know what I mean? Like, forever. Like, you'll have all these memories of all this person. I don't know. It's just, I just thought it was this nice gesture for him to like give his mom. I think it was for Mother's Day. You need it to Vincent. Everybody needs a Vincent. I don't think we've never argued ever, like, to where he's like, he just, when he gets mad, he just like, He's funny. He's funny when he gets mad. No, he is though. But thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys. I appreciate it. I really do. And everyone that was over on the other channel, thanks for being over there. I do appreciate that too. I'm trying to get some watch hours in over there. That way we can monetize the channel. And if we do, and when we do, don't worry about like becoming members over there. If you're a member here, you can, it's totally cool. It's totally cool. I wish memberships were for everywhere. You know what I mean? Like if the creator was on another channel, you could just like transfer it over. But I do want to start doing stuff with the memberships. Not the memberships, I'm sorry, but the PayPal. So since YouTube always takes like 30% of your like earnings, it'd be hard to like calculate, you know, if I did it through super chats and stuff. But I thought if I did it through PayPal and through my titanium bill, then I could show you guys everything, like, you know, just whatever's been purchased on there. And we can do 10% of like every month, whatever donations we get, we can send it to like a charity. And then I thought of a fundraiser. There's a fundraiser button on YouTube. I'm going to look into that and see what that's all about, because that might do something where it is like the super chats and it sends it. I'm not sure. But then that way we're like giving back a little bit, you know, to these like maybe like search groups or organizations that kind of need the money. And I think we should do like smaller organizations, you know, that really do need those funds, that are, you know, out there maybe like searching for missing people, domestic violence advocacy programs, you know, things like that. So t-shirts, I know we're working on those too. Yeah, t-shirts. I'm gonna love that whenever we get all of our stuff. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I will see you guys all tomorrow at the same time. I might try to go down to 8:15, but I probably won't. But we'll be back at around 9:15 or 9:35 tomorrow. And I don't know what we'll cover. I don't know. But I might come on during the day and do a Sebastian Rogers stream just for fun, just because of all the bull crap. We'll just go over the bull crap. It's not really a Sebastian Rogers stream. Should skip that. We'll do a YouTube bull crap stream. I don't know what to call it at this point, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a great evening. Sleep tight and have a great morning tomorrow. Bye, guys.